crafts, volleyball, and line dancing are all happening this week at Endicott. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Layton.
Wednesday is the start of the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, and Endicott's Hillel is providing transportation to the local temple. Contact Hillel to sign up. At noon, Reverend Dr. Ruth Burson will discuss refugees, how RIM serves refugees in the Boston area, and how you can help, taking place in AC 105, and lunch will be provided.
At 1 on Wednesday, head to Library Room 202 to celebrate National Peer Tutor Week with soft pretzels. Then at 6, Hillel will be meeting in the Callahan to break Yom Kippur's fast. And then at 6:30, a literature review and synthesizing information session for senior theses in Library Room 206 will be taking place. At 6:30, Student Alumni Organization will be meeting in LSB 348.
Also on Wednesday, Contemporary Styles, a dance masterclass with Levi Marsman, is taking place in Tia's Theater at 6:45. At 7, Lighthouse will be meeting in the chapel. Then at 8, Cab will be hosting open mic night featuring an apple nacho bar at Gully's.
That sounds pretty interesting. I don't know. I might check that out.
An apple nacho bar?
An apple nacho bar, yeah. All right. On Thursday, the Tutoring Center will be celebrating National Tutor Week with potato chips and dip at 4 in Library Room 202. At 4:30, celebrate the magic of William Meiserowitz, the 20th century master, at a gallery talk and reception in the VPAC. Then at 7, head to the Wax Auditorium to hear Nathaniel Sinnett, CEO of the Environmental Voter Project. He'll speak about how the project uses data to identify millions of environmentalists who don't vote but should.
Now let's take it to sports with Matt Pritchard.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of EC Sports. For EC TV, I'm Matt Pritchard. The men's soccer team finished 1-0 on the week with an overtime victory courtesy of a Jesse Martinez goal versus Salve Regina. The Gulls will travel to Western New England on Saturday and Babson on Sunday. The women's side saw a tie early in the week versus Eastern Connecticut State until a late game-winning goal by Charlotte Pernice propelled them by Salve Regina. They will travel to Western New England on Saturday for a CCC matchup. The men's cross-country team, led by CCC Rookie of the Week Will Connolly, finished 19th out of 41 teams in the James Early Invitational. The women's side finished 21st out of 41 teams and were led by Abigail Kime. The teams will return to the trails Saturday at the WNE Invitational. The women's tennis team went 2-0 on the week with wins versus Wheaton and Bridgewater State. Senior Jamie Zampa was named Co-Senior Scholar Athlete of the Year, while Coach Jeremy Howard earned CCC Coach of the Year honors. 6 other athletes were also named to the various CCC honors teams. They'll start play in the CCC tournament October 18th. The women's volleyball team, led by CCC Player of the Week Tori McIntyre and Libero of the Week Erica Trudon, went an even 500 in the Tom Hay Invitational. They'll host Wesleyan Friday for Senior Day before traveling to Wellesley on Saturday for the Wellesley Invitational. The field hockey team dropped 2 games to Bates and Colby while picking up a win at Gordon on the week. They will host UNE Wednesday the 12th before traveling to Salve Regina on Saturday. That's all for this week from EC Sports. For EC TV, I'm Matt Pritchard. Have a great week, Gulls.
Interested in becoming a peer tutor? Then head over to Library 230 on Friday at 11 to meet the Assistant Director of Tutoring Services and learn how to become a peer tutor. At noon, Friday in the Rose will be presenting Vermilion Strings Trio with a light lunch following the reception, and also at noon to celebrate National Peer Tutor Week, there will be churros in Library 202. At 2 p.m., volunteer at Groundworks in Somerville. Transportation will be provided, and sign up via your Blue Buzz email.
Also on Friday, Northeast Arc Friday Night Happenings will be taking place at 6:30. This week's theme is bingo, and at 9, it's karaoke night in Gully's. Now let's check out world news with Chessie Kim.
Hello everyone, I'm Chessie Kim and this is World News. Italian mafia boss Antonio Pelle was arrested at his home in southern Italy after being found in a hole cut into the walls of his house. According to Italian news agency ANSA, Pelle, also known as Mama, made an escape from a hospital bed after being arrested in 2011 and was listed among 10 most dangerous fugitives. Italian officials said the group is linked to drug trafficking in South and Central America, Canada, and the United States. Pelle has been on the run since 2011. He could serve up to 20 years in prison for drug trafficking and for being associated with a mafia group. For those who can't get enough of pumpkin-flavored treats during Halloween, McDonald's Japan is offering French fries covered in pumpkin and chocolate sauce. The fast food chain came up with the Halloween Choco Potato to mark its 45th anniversary in Japan, where trick-or-treaters enjoy pumpkin-spiced food and beverages to celebrate the October holiday. The Austrian press agency reports that the organ parts were found packed tightly in plastic containers and formaldehyde in a Moroccan woman's baggage during a recent check at the airport of the southern city of Graz. It said Monday that the woman told police that she had brought the intestines of her dead husband to Austria to have them examined because she thought he had been poisoned. The tissue is being subjected to a pathological analysis. Indian police have arrested 70 people and are questioning hundreds more after uncovering a massive scam to cheat thousands of Americans out of millions of dollars by posing as U.S. tax authorities and demanding unpaid taxes. According to police in Mumbai, the year-long scam involved running fake call centers which sent voicemail messages telling U.S. nationals to call back. Those who called back and believed the threats would fork out thousands of dollars to settle their case. The scam brought in more than $150,000 a day. The criminal charges filed against the suspects include extortion, impersonation, and violations of India's information technology laws. Indian news broadcaster NDTV reported that one U.S.-based company collected the victim's personal information and passed it to the fake call centers. The United Nations World Health Organization is calling on countries to implement tax policies that would help reduce sugar consumption. The WHO-led report, based on a meeting of global experts and a review of the available evidence, revealed raising prices by 20% or more result in lower consumption and improved nutrition. Following the findings, the WHO's nutrition director, Dr. Francesca Branca, said nutritionally, people don't need any sugar in their diet, and recommended sugar intake be kept below 10% of a person's total calorie intake, and preferably below 5%. Several countries have already implemented sugar tax. France was one of the first to introduce the measure in 2012, while the same policy was adopted in Mexico in 2013 and in the UK in 2016. South Africa is introducing a sugar tax next year, the first African country to do so. That's all we have for World News this week. Now back to the desk.
Family Promise Walk to End Homelessness at Lynch Park in Beverly is taking place Saturday from 8 to 12. If you're interested in walking or volunteering, contact Lori Rawls in the Community Service Office. At 10:30, there will be a Boston Duck Tours trip leaving from the Post Center bus stop. Tickets are $25 and transportation is included. And at 9, Gulls Gone Country is taking place in Gullies. There will be free food, a DJ, and line dancing, so head on down and check it out.
I say yee-haw to that. And on Sunday, volunteers are needed to help serve prepared lunches at LifeBridge. If you're interested, sign up via your Blue Buzz email. Let's check out the buffoonery that happened in the world this week with Shake My Head News with Lexi and Riley.
Hello and welcome to Shake My Head News, where we give you the most hilarious and ridiculous stories of the week. I'm Lexi Lozano.
And I'm Riley Fitzgibbons. At the end of last week, a 2-year-old from Washington was issued a citation with a $75 fine after mail with her name on it was found in an alley. After protests from her mother and the attention brought to the case from her father's online post, the tickets were finally dropped by a public works official. It'd be hard for me to come up with the $75 now, never mind a 2-year-old.
Amid all the drama from the second presidential debate, one man stood out among the rest. The winner of the debate was neither Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump, but was spectator Ken Bone. Clad in a red Christmas sweater, Bone instantly became Twitter famous overnight. From asking hard-hitting questions to snapping pictures with his disposable camera, I'm sure we can all agree on one thing: Ken Bone for president.
Most dog owners fall victim to the shedding of their beloved pups, but one man recently took it to a new extreme. Tyson Walters, a pet owner from San Diego, decided to come up with the Shed Defender, a leotard to keep falling fur from becoming tumbleweeds on your floor. From Labradoodles to Cocker Spaniels, the Shed Defender fits all shapes and sizes and can even be custom made for your worthy pooch. So if you want your dog to strut around town in a skin-tight uniform, Tyson Walters has the answer.
A boss in Beijing, China, has been caught on camera demanding that every female employee kisses him on the mouth before starting work. The man claimed to staff that kissing breeds a positive working environment between workers and bosses. He is seen forcing workers to kiss him at the brewery machine company that he runs. Every morning between 9 and 9:30 a.m., female workers line up to kiss him. It is claimed that while they're reluctant to do so, they fear that they could lose her jobs.
Our last head-shaking story is about the recent concerns of Samsung's new Galaxy Note 7. After being recalled the first time for spontaneous explosions, the South Korean company decided it was a good idea to send out a new shipment of the smartphone without actually identifying what the problem was. It didn't work out. The new shipments also continued to catch on fire, and still, no conclusions were made. After pulling the plug on the entire project, it's safe to say that Samsung is lit.
That's all we have here for today. Tune in next week to see why pregnant women are in the mud and how a skydiver caught a miracle on camera.
This past week, travel writer Yuval Ben-Ami visited the Endicott campus. Our own Brooke O'Leary was able to talk with him. Let's check it out.
Hello, I'm Brooke O'Leary here for ECTV. I'm sitting down with travel writer Yuval Ben-Ami. Hi, Yuval, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you.
Good, thank you. So one of my first questions for you is, in beginning your expeditions of the Holy Land, I know it's your native land, did anything specific inspire you to start these journeys?
Well, first, I started my journeys away from it because I was confused by it. It's a confusing country. So confused that I did not know how to write about it. I did not know how to even experience it. And I went and traveled and lived abroad for 8.5 years, including here in Boston.
Wow.
And started writing about other countries. And only once I've had that done, I started traveling back. And I think it's that very experience of extreme complexity that motivated me to write. Until today, I don't have the place figured out. I'm still really working on it. The first book I published in Hebrew about my own country is called Wonderland. And it's, I was looking for absurdities, strange places, interesting conjunctions. And so that was a way to start exploring it. And since then, I've each time given myself a task and seen how the country plays out when I explore it according to the task. For example, circumnavigating it, or for example, staying up all night for 7 nights and traveling it at night. Or for example, going to tourist sites that are, written about and writing about them differently. And it just kept appearing more and more complex, but sometimes I figure out some things, yeah.
Did you have any studies in this area beforehand in school?
No, I studied art, but in a sense it's art. Travel writing is art. And I think of it as a form of literature that's legitimate. I remember after living here in the States, seeing there was a travel writing shelf in most bookshops. I came back home and I said, there isn't such a thing here. I need to develop it as a culture in Hebrew. But since then, I've been writing a lot in English as well. I think of travel as a tool, like the pencil, like the keyboard, to convey a place. And the person writing is, in a way, the narrator can even be seen as a protagonist, but really I am a vehicle for the reader with which the reader can travel through the landscape. I also experience the landscape. I interact with it. I am confused by it. I am troubled by it. I am enchanted by it. And those are things that I want to convey to the reader as well, the relationship between me and an environment.
So you grew up in the environment you've been researching. Did you learn anything new that maybe you hadn't experienced before that you were surprised by?
All the time. I changed entirely my view of my own country. My political experience of it became so much more complex because I realized that as a child I was given one of many stories of this land. And it can be, the tale of the country can be told in many different ways. In fact, it suffers a sort of a personality split, depending on whom you are. you see it in a totally different way. And by traveling, you interact. And by interacting, I learned about totally different perspectives, totally different views of the same place.
Do you think this learning and this interaction helped you in your transition to radio and your music that you're producing as well?
Music, in a way, came before writing.
Okay.
And I still make music, but I try to listen more. And radio, I went and made radio in Israel that actually treats the rest of the world. So there was a program called, well, its name is in Hebrew and complicated, but it's for 2 hours each week, we spoke about other places in the world. But we would dedicate 1 hour to that actual place, say the Philippines, and the second hour to how that place is represented where we're from. And it was another way of unraveling how diverse and how complex my country is. There is a whole Filipino community, there is a whole Moroccan community, and bringing them into the studio is listening to them, listening to their music, hearing stories, and getting our questions answered that enriched me unbelievably.
Excellent. Now, what does it mean to you to be able to immerse yourself in these sort of new communities and then also the new aspect of your own? You're building relationships with these people you're learning about.
So I think the most meaningful relationship that I built over the past few years is as a tour guide. And the tours that I participate in are dual narrative. I am an Israeli guide, there is a Palestinian guide, and we call it dual narrative, but really it's multi-narrative. We are together through the whole tour, and we show the groups the country, and wherever we go, we can reflect on it from different angles. We don't necessarily represent our respective in-groups, but we know them. So we can tell how an ideological settler might think of this place, how someone who's a religious Muslim or a religious Christian might think of this place, etc. This is extremely rare to the point of hardly existent, because mostly when people come to the Holy Land, they hear one story, and not the other, or if they're lucky, one story and the other is an afterthought or sort of an evil afterthought. You know, the bad guys think that. Yeah. We reject the idea of bad guys, and we try to, and we are ourselves exploring with the groups that we show around and learning all the time while doing that from one another and from other people who speak to the groups.
Awesome. Well, it's been amazing to hear your story. I'm honored to see what you have done, and thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you very much.
That does it for this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Brianna Marr.
And I'm Matt Layton. We'll see you next time.